Hello and welcome to another instalment of our occasional podcast called I Wish I Hadn't. I'm Dave Hill.
And I'm John Wyatt. As you can tell from our names, David and Jonathan, we were born in the 1950s, so we've had many years to accumulate embarrassing moments which we now feel happy to share.
The dictionary defines regret as a sorrowful remembrance, a sense of loss. But we're not in the business of sorrow and loss here. We're dealing with those things in life that we might wish had been otherwise, but which we're now prepared to own up to.
Today we prove that we're not the only incompetents in the universe by inviting some guests to join us in revealing their own blush-inducing I wish I hadn't moments from the past.
Alan, Mandy and Lynn are friends of a similar vintage, whose experiences often mirror our own. Although we're joined by guests, we're missing our benevolent Jeannie, who has taken some time off due to stress and overwork. I should start off by telling you my I wish I hadn't from today. You know, when we were all looking around all the gift shops and all that sort of thing. And
this was something you did today?
This was something I did today, yeah.
Oh, right.
And you went to the loo and you came out and said, oh, I'm going to go into the loo now. And I went in. And being cool, I put my sunglasses, you know, just over here, just strolling like this. And I went in.
Your default setting, cool.
I leant over to you know, in the not the urinal but the main toilet. I leant over to get some toilet paper, and my sunglasses fell straight down the toilet bowl.
Right.
And I thought, oh, well, that's okay because I'll just fish them out. And then I thought, oh, I've just followed someone in here. So I'm not quite sure about the state of this water in here. So when I'd been in there and finished, I came out and I not only washed my hands, I washed my sunglasses as well. And it's really weird when you're standing under the hand dryer, drying one hand and your sunglasses, and then swapping over to the other hand. Then and then
I wonder what that strange smell was actually after we've been in the.
It made me giggle when I came out.
Yeah.
Goodness.
Yeah, but that's like the classics, though, isn't it? Where you splash water from washing your hands in an inappropriate place all over your trousers, which is bad enough.
Yeah.
But then you sort of try to use the hot air dryer in there.
You're standing under that, like some people are coming in while you're
and then somebody walks through the door as you're doing this.
It's
like trying to heat up your groin nicely.
Yeah.
Dear. Not that that's ever happened.
No.
The one I thought of today was the time that I dropped my trousers in a Tesco car park.
Fair enough.
Because I got out of the car, and as I got out of the car, closed the door, the belt snapped, and my trousers just fell down rather like a cloud, in a crowded car park. So I had to hoik them up very quickly, and luckily it was a Tesco car park, and it was a Tesco superstore where they sold belts. So I had to hobble around, holding my trousers up until I could find a belt and buy it.
I hope you got your club card points for that.
Yeah, I think so. And a round of applause, I'm going to say, in the car park.
I did all my knickers once when I was at school, and we were standing in the queues going for lunch. And it just pinged. I was about 5. It just pinged, and they just fell to the floor.
Oh.
And it was, I just didn't know what to do, so I was holding them up like this with one hand, crying, until the nuns came.
Till the nuns,
we were talking about
came and
things
beat
like that.
you. Yeah, probably.
I was on holiday in Ile de Ré,
Yes.
weren't we, Dave?
Yeah, we were indeed. Yes. Yeah.
When my sister was there, and my sister and I have a habit of making ourselves go absolutely hysterical.
Mm-hmm.
And she said, I can't find my glasses.
She did.
I've left my sunglasses. Where have I left my sunglasses? And it was a simple thing. I said, Mandy, they're on your head. Nothing funny about that, but we both went hysterical.
Yeah, I can imagine that.
Point where we both wet ourselves.
Both at the same time.
Really?
Both
We
at the
went,
same
we
time.
had to, yes, we had to go into the car park where the car was. Have the car doors open, and luckily we got a change of clothes in the car, and we had to change behind the door.
Yeah.
And while we were changing behind the door, Kate and Tom came past in their car
Yeah.
and looked at us as though saying, "What
Mandy was extremely concerned because there was a chap walking his dog not very far away, and she was worried that as he walked his dog, he'd look across and see her sans knickers.
So we wish we hadn't got ourselves, basically.
It's like changing on the beach when you go for a swim. It's so difficult, isn't it? You're trying to wrap your towel around you and drop it. Yeah.
I mean, we actually mentioned, didn't we, about when I was very young and my cousin Susan, I had to borrow her swimming costume, which is obviously a girl's swimming costume, and it was a knitted one, like a ruched knitted one, and there is. Actually,
I hope there are photos.
There is actually a photo. There's a photo of me coming out on. I'll tell you where it was. You remember when West Bay Harbour had a little beach in the corner, which isn't there anymore now, is it?
No.
And that's where we were. And there's a photo of me coming out with this wonderfully ruched, knitted, basically girls' swimming costume, with a look on my face that basically says, I really don't want to be wearing this at the moment.
Yeah. Well, that little beach also, there's a story associated with me on that, because my dad decided he was going to teach me to swim, and I suppose about 5 or 6. And for some reason, he thought that what he would do would be attach a belt around my middle, and tied to the belt were lots of tin cans, sealed on the top, like coffee tins or something.
Yeah.
He thought that these would contain enough air in them to act as a sort of a buoyancy belt. And I obviously implicitly trusted my dad as an inventor, so I marched in and launched myself and probably sank, as you would expect.
All the tops probably.
It just wasn't enough buoyancy.
No.
So my dad, hauled me out laughing a lot. But it's probably one of the reasons. One of the reasons that I.
No, he just threw me in the water.
Okay.
Oh, really?
I think there was, Well, he'd been in the Navy and he assumed everybody should be able to swim. And that's why to this day I can't swim, because his idea of
I'm not
teaching me to
surprised.
swim was just take him down to West Bay and throw me into the wave.
And what
I'm
happened?
not sure he actually wanted me to come back.
He really can't swim now, still.
So he waded in and rescued you then, presumably.
Well, I just sort of, it wasn't that deep there. I just sort of coughed and spluttered and
Okay.
came out, and that was it. Yes.
When we were on holiday, thinking of swimming, when we were on holiday many years ago with our friend Julie, we were in Greece, weren't we, in Skiathos?
Oh my goodness, yes.
And we'd gone out on a boat trip, and this boat took us into Skopolis, I think it was. We had a drink at lunchtime, and then they came back and they said, you can. We're back on the boat, and they said, you can, anybody who wants to, you can swim ashore from the boat, and then, come back again. And I sort of thought, well, I looked at the distance, and I'd had a couple of drinks. And I'm not a good swimmer at all, but I thought I think I can just about make it from the boat to the shore.
So it was the alcohol talking.
That was the alcohol talking, which I did. And I was very proud of myself. I thought, well, that's pretty good, that. Now, in the meantime, I had a little bit of rest there, but in that time, the boat sort of floated a little bit further away, and I started to swim back, and got to a point of no return where I was a bit too far out from the shore, and I wasn't close enough to the boat, and I did start to panic.
You did, and I saw him, and he went on. He turned on his back, and I said to my friend Julie, "Dave's in trouble, I can tell." And
she's a good swimmer.
She's a very good swimmer. And there was this little lady. She was 60 plus, and this is going back about 15 years ago, isn't it?
Yeah.
And she was having. She got a rubber ring, and she was round the side of the boat. And Julie jumped into the water, and she said, "Excuse me," whipped the rubber ring off her, and she and started going towards Dave with the rubber ring in the air.
At which point,
Dave was rescued and the woman died.
Well, basically, at which point one of the Greek crewmen had seen this, obviously,
dived off the boat,
dived off, fantastic swimmer, and came to me like a torpedo. Got to me and at least held me up, and then Julie got there with the ring, and they put me in the ring.
Humiliating.
It was exceptionally humiliating. And then they pulled me back to the boat, and I was quite. I actually, I was like going down for the third time almost and thinking, this is it. And sat on the boat, you know, recovering, while Julie absolutely peed herself laughing. She couldn't stop
And she
laughing.
can't tell that story now
Without going hysterical.
with
It
With
could have been
laughter about-
worse. I mean,
Yeah.
she could have stolen the armbands off a kid. You got to you and had to blow them up, fit them over your arm.
This poor little old lady, and I know she was only 60, but she was like a little old lady, and she was topless.
Topless
as well,
right in the water,
and
yeah.
she whipped this thing off.
She obviously didn't have buoyancy
Definitely
aids.
wasn't
then.
pregnant, they just came off with the rubber ring.
Luckily, there was a rope attached to the boat, and the woman hung onto the rope.
Can we
Well,
tell
a
your
little bit-
story in
well,
Australia?
yeah, we went out to the Great Barrier Reef.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So on the boat, great trip out. It was a fairly cheap boat, wasn't it?
Very
These
laid
sort of
back
very laid back
surf
surfer
dudes.
duty type
Yeah.
guys.
Literally stood
Steering the wheel, the boat,
Yeah.
yeah,
with their
mm.
feet.
boat.
Yeah.
Anyway, we got out there and everybody was, you know, going. You went off in a glass bottom boat, didn't you?
Mm-hmm.
To look at things.
Mm.
But they convinced me. I said that I'd love to do it, but I can't swim. They said, no problem. And they said, well, we'll give you a noodle.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
A dry suit. He said, well, you can't sink in that, and if you worry, you know one of these noodles. And I said, okay,
And
fine.
also, our friend Carol was
You
with us.
had to buddy up.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So
Yeah.
our friend Carol
And
was
I'd said
meant
to
to be
Carol,
my buddy. Who's telling the story?
you didn't. Okay, go on.
Go on.
I should-
what did you say to
I should
Carol,
just
then?
explain here that Alan and Mandy have been married for about 95 years. They got married in primary school.
As the saying goes, they like to finish each other's sandwiches.
Exactly. Go on.
So anyway, Carol, we were buddied up. So you were supposed to look after each other, and Carol was supposed to be my buddy. But anyway, so this guy explained to me, you had the goggles on, and you had the, the breather, snorkel
Yeah.
thing, and then he big flippers. And he explained to me, he said, right, okay, when you go out, he said, just flap those feathers and you'll shoot off. Well, I did shoot off. Carol got left behind.
Can we just
Yeah.
add the most important thing? He actually had his snorkel on upside down. So every
I
time
was
he
leaving
breathed
that
in,
bit. I was getting led away.
breathing in seawater.
Seawater.
So I was watching this, and Carol had shot off, having the
In
most
one
wonderful
direction.
time. He was breathing seawater.
And going around in, I think I had one new part of the noodle out too far one side, so I was going around in a bit of a circle.
So I had to say to these guys on the boat, could you go and get my husband? He's drowned.
It wasn't quite that bad, but I was getting a little bit panicky. So anyway, they threw back and said, grab hold of that and turn it on. And I thought, oh, that'll be it. But they weren't going to give up on me. And so what eventually said, look, we'll go out, we'll try again. You hold on to this lifebelt all the time. And so I eventually had basically a chauffeur-driven tour of the barrack because this guy was with me all the time, and he'd dive down and show me this, that, or the other. And brilliant.
Fantastic.
And one-to-one.
It's
Have you
fabulous.
ever eventually learned to swim?
No.
Oh, you still can't
I
swim?
tried to teach him. We were in the south of France. A friend had a house with a pool, which was lovely, and it was just us there. And we did go in every day, and we did take a couple of noodles, didn't we? And he was very good, but it's the inner panic has never left him from that, and so
I'm
he
not
just
surprised.
can't relax enough to let go. And I don't think he'll ever have.
Well, me and Bugs Newbury spent.
He couldn't
two-
swim either?
No, we spent 2 years at the shallow end of that outside
The outside
pool,
pool.
Yeah.
freezing our nuts
Yeah.
off.
Yeah.
With Owen Johns yelling at us.
Yeah.
I think that was the problem for me with learning to swim. We had the pool at school, didn't we? But it was cold. It was outdoor. It wasn't heated. And when you first went in it, it was like springtime, wasn't it? So it's warm enough now. We go there, and it was freezing cold. And I can remember just shivering in there and thinking, I can't do this. I can't do this. Yeah.
I do remember though it gave one of the girls in our class a nickname. Do you remember? Because we were standing at the end of the pool, and she swam her length wearing swimming goggles and surfed it to the end. Look, a walrus! And she was always known as the walrus out there. We're not going to mention any
no
names.
names, no petrol on that one.
No, absolutely.
Was she the one who also shaved her whole body? Was that her?
Why do you remember
I
that?
think that might be another story altogether.
He's English.
Yeah, that was the rumour. She had a very hairy lip.
But even then, how do you? She saved her whole body.
Yeah, it's the sort of rumours that passed around the boarding house.
Okay, right. Well, yeah, it may have been a boarding house rumour, may have been, yeah. I don't think that worked for the rest of us.
No, never learned to
Yeah,
swim
well,
after
that's a
that.
lot of swimming.
No, I'm not surprised, really. No.
Yeah, so what do I take up as a hobby? Fishing.
Fishing, yeah.
Boat
Being able to swim might be helpful, yeah.
Have you ever fallen in?
Not really. I've got my feet wet, but
I don't think he's going to admit it in front of
No.
me.
got close to it going in boats at reservoirs because you do that thing of stepping in and you're not sure, and then you start to do the splits, and then you have to
But
make.
you
that
always have your
decision.
noodle handy, don't you?
Always keeps his noodle
Always keep your noodle
I've
handy.
been told not to handle my noodle in public.
I never go swimming without my noodle.
He doesn't go shopping without his noodle. It's just any puddle.
In the sea, it's a very short noodle.
In the cold, it shrinks, doesn't it? Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, well, there you
Yes,
are.
I think we've probably got enough
I
there
think we'll
for
leave it
today.
at your noodle, shall we?
I think you've probably got stuff there that you probably can't
At
use.
first no, it's all pure gold, I'm sure.
Oh, dear.
Mm.
Oh, dear.
Let's stop recording.